Hey, what's up, gang? It's Scott from Artillery Power Sports here in Bakersfield, California. I wanted to share a quick diagnostic conundrum that can happen with the 2007, I'm sorry, 06 to 09, I guess would all be the same. The GSXR 600 and 750. Now, I know a lot of parts are coming in from China. We're getting knockoff stuff that, you know, seems to fit the role good. I'm gonna grab a chair over here. You know, it looks the part, mostly works, but when it doesn't work in a big fashion. I had a GSXR here behind me that had issues with a long time to start. Crank, finally would fire up. And you know, after going through the normal protocol, like, you know, I wanted to make sure that the valves weren't out of adjustment, which they were, but not enough to cause that issue. Made sure the plugs were good, ignition coils, everything. Air filter was clean. You know, I did the proper, you know, periodic maintenance, made sure everything was good. And then I was left starting to search for other issues. I looked at the throttle position sensor, I looked at the fuel pressure, and beyond, all the switches and sensors I could check. And then I noticed that this cover had been replaced. And one of the telltale signs on these covers when they're from China is the edges are a little bit more rounded, and they look a little bit different. So I asked, I said, oh man, is that a Chinese cover? And he said, yeah, you know, I replaced those covers. Well, if you look right here, oh man, I can't hold the phone, but these two holes right here inside this area, they harness the crank position sensor. If that crank position sensor is just a little bit too far away from the reluctor on the end of the crank and it's rotating past it, well, sometimes it just takes a little bit too long for it to gather its signal and know what's going on. You know, this bike runs a crank position sensor along with a cam position sensor to identify when and where to throw spark and fuel. So in the end, we wound up replacing that cover and immediately had good results. So if you're having an issue with a hard, long start on a GSXR and it has a aftermarket right side or clutch cover, crankcase cover, try a OEM one and you might have success. This could definitely go, you know, epidemic status, man, because I know a lot of people are buying these. If you've got this issue, it's worth trying. And the hardship is you can't really test the gap with everything assembled. You can't access the crank position sensor to reluctor gap. I don't think it's measurable since it's a part of the outer cover. It's not something that's bolted to the engine and you can't remove the cover and then look and see the gap. So definitely a tough one, and I thought I'd share that, save everybody the hardship. Thanks. Have a great day.